Tuesday, December 26, 2024. The top three storylines we're watching for over the next couple of weeks. An Arctic air outbreak is coming later this week. This is a near certainty. It's been on the weather models for quite some time. We're going to be going over how cold temperatures will get as we go through this Arctic outbreak. A snowstorm is possible as well. With the Arctic air coming in, it's a perfect recipe with moisture that we could see a pretty decent snowstorm, but a lot of details to be ironed out as well. Will the cold and snow stick around into early December? We are going to be giving you guys the answer to that later on in the video. So I hope you stick around, check back often for updates. So subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notification bell so you are notified for any videos in the future. And of course, press the like button. You guys know that it's the thumbs up button down below. Here is the height anomaly map this morning. We got big blocking up here to Alaska and also in Greenland. That's forcing the storm track a little bit further to the south across southern Canada and the northern US. And that's actually bringing that freezing line further south too. So here's the freezing line this Tuesday morning, all the way down into Indianapolis, St. Louis. You know, that is a stark contrast from what we saw Monday morning into this morning here with 20s for low temperatures, upper 20s in St. Louis. 29 in the Tulsa area, 31 in Oklahoma City, and 31 in Amarillo, Texas this morning. Looking at the temperature anomalies this afternoon, you can see where the below normal temperatures are residing, and that's again across southern Canada and parts of the northern and central U.S. And this colder air is just the first wave of cold air as we go into this early week. And you can see this afternoon, a lot of the freezing line will be further up to the north. The upper Midwest, for example, will be into the 20s this afternoon and the teens further off to the west in North Dakota. Let's look at the precipitation on the radar expected through the day. This is this morning. We got two systems we're watching. One here across the west, bringing a very heavy snow band across the Sierras into parts of the Rockies. So definitely the watershed out west, all those ski resorts out west getting plenty of snowfall this morning. All rain for the northeast of New England. The snow line is further north into the Canadian provinces of Ontario and Quebec. That will continue largely as we go into this afternoon. Maybe enough for a rain-snow mix there for western Maine into northern Vermont, New Hampshire. We may start to see some snowflakes mixing in with that this afternoon. Otherwise, it's all snow for the Sierras in the higher elevation of the Rockies further off to the west this afternoon, and that really largely continues into tonight, and we start to dry out as well for the New England and the Northeast. Looking at snowfall amounts across the U.S., you can see where it will reside, pretty localized to the east, but out west, a lot of the mountainous areas out west, the Rockies, Cascades, Sierras, going to be seeing some pretty decent snows. I mean, the southern Sierras, folks, could be seeing over 100 inches worth of snow through the next 24 hours or so. Very heavy snow amounts outside of Salt Lake City and west of Denver as well. So we're going to be definitely adding up a lot of that snowfall over the next 24 hours for the ski resorts and the watershed out west. Central U.S., you can see maybe a couple flurry snow showers in North Dakota could add up to a half inch of snow in the grassy surfaces there. And then more lake effect snow over here into the UP of Michigan. That could bring maybe a couple more inches of snow there as well. Otherwise, pretty much to the east, you can see any snow we see or rain-snow mix that we mentioned in Maine, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, upstate New York. That's really only going to add up to maybe a trace up to a half inch at most in these areas. And a lot of this will be slushy accumulations or at least on grassy surfaces. So that is definitely something we're keeping an eye on. As far as travel goes, it looks like extreme travel impacts. If travel takes you out west to California and the Sierras, definitely want to take it slow, put the chains on the tires. It's definitely going to be very heavy snowfall out here. And then more moderate major travel impacts across areas of Utah, western, central Colorado. That's where we could have some additional higher elevation snows there outside Salt Lake City, outside of Denver. And then looking at the UP of Michigan, not terribly big travel impacts here, but we definitely could be seeing minor travel inconveniences there and maybe across parts of upstate New England as we go in towards that Wednesday morning time frame. Let's take you out to the northern hemisphere with the ice and snowpack, and it's really been building over the past few weeks. In the orange, that's where the ice cover is here near the Arctic Circle. And the snowpack is really building across a lot of North America, but even taking you back all the way into Russia and the Asia continent, you can see there's a lot of snowpack here as well. So looking here at the snowpack here locally across North America, and you see a lot of that building in Alaska, Western Canada here into central and southern Canada, and even across the Rockies like we mentioned and out west. So that's going to be allowing a lot of that colder air as we have big blocking going on up here in Alaska and Greenland. That's forcing the storm track and the colder air further south, and you can see the origin of that cold air right over that snowpack in western and central Canada and southern Canada, and then into the central and eastern US as we go through later this week. So let's walk you through that. Today, this is where we see the temperatures. This is where we see the below normal temperatures in the blue, and in the reds and oranges, those are above normal temperatures. Notice how we start to see more widespread below normal temps as we go into Wednesday, really seeing that big push of cold air. I think Thanksgiving Day, that's really when we start to see that. And look at southern Canada, Alberta, Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba, areas there could be 30 degrees below the norm for this time of year, for late November, for temperatures on Thursday. That's Thanksgiving Day. And then on Friday, post-Thanksgiving travel, like I said at the beginning of the video, might want to bring your winter coats. If you are heading off to see family for Thanksgiving and you're staying through Friday, you might just want to bring that winter coat because it's going to be cold across the central and the eastern U.S. Temperatures could be easily 40 degrees below the norm in some areas, especially here where that deeper snowpack is across Canada or the northern tier of the United States. Here are your temperatures, for example, and I know Black Friday shopping is a big thing. Friday morning, if you're going out to any box stores out there and going Black Friday shopping, looking at the temperatures, that freezing line going all the way south into the southeast, the southern U.S., and yes, you are seeing negative temperatures up here into parts of the Dakotas, the Black Hills region of the Dakotas, northwest Minnesota, and back into Montana. Areas may even struggle to reach -10 for the low temperatures here as we go into Friday morning, and those areas will struggle to reach 10 degrees above zero, let alone into the afternoon. So it's going to be very cold up here as we go into Friday afternoon, so make sure to pack the winter coat with you, the scarf, the gloves, everything like that. Let's look at the storm track. Wednesday, this is midweek, this is tomorrow, and you can see that we have the jet stream further to the south that starts to buckle as we go into Thanksgiving Day. And when you see a buckling jet stream, that typically means you're starting to see some type of trough or storm system. And notice the polar jet coming down here, the cross-polar flow from Canada into the U.S. You have the subtropical jet coming down here. Those are starting to phase together on Thanksgiving, and they really start to kind of at least loosely phase up together as we go into Friday. Why that's important is you want the phasing of the jet streams. You get a stronger storm with that, and you can see here the precipitation anomalies are reflective of that. Subtropical jet pushing in the moisture into into California, into portions there of the desert Southwest as we go through the week, drying out in the middle of the country, and then really picking up that moisture across the Northeast as that polar jet bringing that cold air down, but that subtropical jet bringing in that moisture, and some of that moisture could come off the Gulf of Mexico as well. So as we go into tomorrow, here is Wednesday. That storm system doesn't look like much. It's 1,005 millibars down here in southeastern Oklahoma that'll race to the east. Look at just off the coast of New Jersey, perhaps on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. We could have a 996 millibar low here, wetter snow, or at least a rain snow mix starting to develop here. That with dynamic cooling could change that rain over to snow fairly quickly in some areas, especially upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and western Maine, maybe even western Massachusetts. The I-95 corridor and closer to the coast likely to remain mostly liquid, but I would not be surprised if the cold air comes in fast enough for some of that to change over to some snowflakes. And then as we go into Friday, post-Thanksgiving, you can see the lake effect snow from that really starts to build. You got the northwest flow coming in, and you got the warmer lakes, so that is going to enhance the lake effect snow. Let's look here at model number 1. Pretty bullish on the snowfall amounts here across Maine all the way back towards northern Pennsylvania. A lot of lake effect snowfall with that. A lot of snow here in Ontario and Quebec. Model number 2, still the same thing. A lot of snow in Quebec and Ontario. A lot of lake effect snow, but lighter on the amounts from Maine back toward Pennsylvania. And the same thing holds true with Model 3. A lot of snowfall in Ontario, Quebec. The lake effect snowfall is there, but less snowfall from Maine back to Pennsylvania. So looking at the national blend of models, this gives you the most likely scenario at this point of this storm system. And it looks like we'll see some decent accumulations from Maine back to Pennsylvania, although we don't know how much snowfall exactly yet, as it's still a few days away. We don't even know the storm track exactly yet or its intensity, and that is a big deal when it comes to snowfall. If the storm track's further north, that'll push that snow line back into Canada. If it's further south, that could bring that snow line closer to the I-95 corridor or closer to the coast. So that is a big deal for New England and the Northeast. We'll keep you updated on that. Regardless, what is of higher confidence is behind this storm system in the first week of December, December 1st through December 8th, we're going to see a lot of building of that trough across the east, a lot of building of the ridge out west. So what this is going to mean is the PNA, the Pacific North American Oscillation is going to start to turn more positive, and that's going to force the cooler air further to the east, and that is going to set up shop across the eastern U.S. during the first week of December, and those temperatures could be easily 20, 30 degrees below the norm for early December. And again, we're talking early December, folks, so you know it's going to be some cold air, and then we're seeing modifying air across Alaska, Western Canada, especially for Yukon, British Columbia, Alberta, and down here into the western U.S., which could start to melt a little bit of that snowpack as we go into early December. Looking here at total snowfall, it's going to bring a little bit more of that lake effect snow across the Great Lakes region as we go into early December. Northwest flow is cold flow, and that could bring the colder air over the warm water of the lakes and bring that lake effect snowfall out and enhance some of those snow totals. So if you live into the upper peninsula of Michigan, the lower peninsula of Michigan, the northern Ohio Valley, more so interior New England in the Northeast, and then of course southeastern Canada up there toward Hudson Bay, definitely going to be seeing the potential for snowfall there as well. So we'll keep you updated on that. Make sure to like the video, give it a thumbs up, especially if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel, folks. We're approaching 3,000 subscribers on this channel. Definitely check back often for more updates, as we'll have more information on the cold and snow throughout the winter right here on the channel. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Tuesday out there.